Yo guys, what's going on? I got a Diaboromon deck list as well as some gameplay for you guys for the EX1 format. I know a lot of people are excited for this deck, myself included, because you get so much new and amazing support out of not only EX1 but also the Set 6 Dash Pack had this Kurisarimon here that is really essential to the new strategy. So I'll just kind of talk about this version of the deck and then yeah, so let's go ahead get into it. So for the eggs, I think originally in the past I was playing like BT5, I was playing 4 copies of this Sumamon and then 1 copy of the draw one. But I think in this version, because now you have so many ways to boost your DP, you actually prefer the consistency more than the attack boost. So I think the draw one is definitely the way to go for this version of the deck. So 4 copies of that Sumamon, and then playing only Caramons, now you've got access to 12 Caramons, so that's pretty nice. Of course, the BT2 one that lets you draw a card not once per turn, by the way. The search one from set 5, which lets you search not only an unidentified but your Arata Tamer as well. And then the new EX1 Caramon, which says for each Digimon you have in play with the same name as this Digimon, he gets plus 1000. So if you've got 3 Diaboromon, you get plus 3000 DP. Pretty nice effect, and so that's the level 3 lineup. For the level 4s now, it's going to look a little bit weird because, first of all, I'm not playing any blockers in this deck at all, actually. The way you get blockers on the field is through the EX1 Diaboromon. So there's actually too many good Kurisarimons for the Diaboromon deck that you kind of have to, like, you literally can't play any other level 4s, I think. So for the Kurisarimons, you got 4 different ones. So you've got, of course, the BT2 one that lets you gain 1 memory every single time you play a Diaboromon. It's Digimon with the same name, but basically Diaboromon. So again, that effect is also not once per turn. So a lot of times if you've like summoned 2 Diaboromons at the same time, courtesy of maybe the token generating one, as well as your Arata Sanada, you can potentially gain like 2 memory and then like draw 2 cards off of the Caramon or something. So that's really nice. And then the Kurisarimon with Rush, or like it doesn't. The one that gives your Digimon with the same name Rush is really amazing because, of course, like I said, you can just spam a bunch of tokens on the field. They all got Rush. You can go for game really quickly, and then it also helps you unload your Tamer out of your hand. Now the EX1 Kurisarimon lets you be a little bit aggressive. I do think this card is solid, but I don't think it's as essential as the promo one. But this one lets you, when one of your other Digimon with the same name is deleted, you can unsuspend this Digimon. So let's say you've got this guy underneath a Diaboromon, and then you attack with a token, and then the token dies, you get to unsuspend this Digimon, potentially getting in extra attacks. It is only once per turn, but it is still a really nice effect regardless. And I think the really star of the show here is the promo Diaboromon. All of your Digimon with the same name as the Digimon get Decoy Black White. That is during all turns. So for the Decoy ability, it explains what that keyword means, where one of your black or white Digimon would be deleted by an opponent's effect. You can delete this Digimon in order to prevent that deletion. So basically, if you've got a Diaboromon on the field, and then you've got all your tokens as well, all of your tokens gain this Decoy ability, so it makes it really annoying to get rid of the tokens, especially because the tokens do have weird stats. Okay, if you've seen any of like the token generating cards like Catastrophe Cannon or Arata or Diaboromon or whatever, it tells you there are 14 play costs, 3000 DP in Mega Form. So it already makes it so that you can't like Gavald Schwarmer them, you can't like you know, do anything that deletes with like the lowest play cost or like under 7 or you know, stuff like that. So that already makes it really nice. So you basically have to like, if you're playing against Musketeers, they have to like Fly Bullet it, or you know, if they're playing against Security Control, they have to either Iron Fisted or Wyvern's Breath each individual one. So which again is really annoying to deal with. So the Decoy ability makes this deck really good, but then of course the EX1 Diaboromon gives your Diaboromons blockers, okay? So it not only makes this Diaboromon a blocker, but then every one of your tokens will get blockers. So the kind of combo here is to have your Kurisarimon underneath this dude, so all of your tokens get Decoy blocker. So Decoy blocker is a very annoying field to deal with. There's not many decks that can handle that outside of maybe something like Agubond, but even then Agubond can't get rid of the tokens because they're all megas. They're not level 5 or lower. So it's again, it's really difficult for most decks to deal with a field of Decoy blockers. And then of course you've got like the ultimates are pretty standard. You know, Inframon playing 1 copy of Warren. The new Inframon here has a cool effect where during your opponent's turn, if they evolve into a 5 or higher, you can gain a memory, and then again you have that attack boost as well, which is actually during all turns, which is pretty sick. And then the other Diaboromons here, I kind of talked about this one already, but the promo Diaboromon here is actually like disgusting because you can just OTK so easily with this deck. You control the board with your Decoy blockers, and you go into this guy and OTK. And I know this guy is like really unreasonably expensive, so if you are looking for budget alternatives, I would recommend playing 2 copies of this Diaboromon instead, who is still really solid. One attacking can play Diaboromon token, and then this kind of also works hand in hand with the Kurisaramon that lets you unsuspend, so potentially getting multiple attacks off of this guy, summoning multiple tokens, and then he also protects himself by battle. So now you have you know, a Diaboromon that can protect himself by battle. You can also protect him via the Decoy blocker. So again, multiple layers of protections there. So that's why I would recommend if you don't have these guys. But then the other cards, Armageddonmon is your rush target, Catastrophe Cannon just to get rid of bonds and spawn tokens. Ultimate Flare is a block card, 4 copies of your Arata, and then 3 copies of Analog Youth. This card is really crazy. So it lets you get away with a lower rookie count. I'm only playing 12 in this deck, so it helps with the consistency. But then also the fact that it trashes the cards instead of putting them back at the bottom of the deck sets up for your Arata, because if you play this like first turn, then you already have an unidentified trash, and then you can just play your Tamer and then go about your day and gain the memory from your Arata. So it's really crazy actually. So yeah, that's the deck. So let's go ahead and get into some gameplay. So my opponent is actually going to start. He is playing Agubond actually with some of the new EX1 cards as well, Analog Youth, Skullgreymon, etc. So we're going to see the Agumon Digivolve there for a 0 cost, and then to pass the turn we are going to see the Analog Youth played for a 2, which is just such a crazy card in so many decks, being able to just reveal 3 and then add any Digimon, and then also got that secondary effect where you get to hatch another Digiegg if one of your level 5 with materials is destroyed. So he's going to grab the Agumon, and the rest of the cards go to the trash. So then I'm going to start my turn with 2 memory. Not the most ideal hand because I don't actually have any way to go into my Diaboromon, not any level 3s either, but that is what the White Tamer is for. So we're going to play our copy of Analog Youth, reveal the top 3, and then unfortunately revealed an Inframon here as well, which I definitely do need, but I'm going to grab the Caramon, and then the others go to the trash. And now that's really nice because it sets up for my Arata. So if I do play him, I will start my turn with +1 memory, since I do now have an unidentified in the trash. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to Digivolve my Caramon and then play the Arata Sanada from my hand for a 3 cost, leaving my opponent with 3, and then he's going to start with his turns by just bringing out the Agumon, and I am in a pretty good position. I also drew into the EX1 Diaboromon there. Now the only issue is I do need some form of level 5 within the next couple turns, otherwise he's probably just going to be able to OTK me pretty quickly. We see the Ancient Greymon there off of the red memory boost, as well as the Agumon. So this is an ancient hybrid kind of version of Agumon, which I think works really well now that we do have access to Analog Youth. It makes Ancient Greymon and Agumon, the promo Agumon, much more playable in my opinion. So we're just going to see that red memory boost revealed, and then the Agumon's going to go to hand, and then the rest will go to the bottom of the deck, and yet another Analog Youth is going to be played. Such a great card, and then the top 3 are going to be revealed. We see another Agumon, as well as a Agumon. So probably going to grab either the Agumon or the Evolution Tamer Agumon. So that's exactly what we're going to see. The Agumon's going to go to hand. I'm going to start my turn with +1 memory from my Arata, and then just go to 3. Unfortunately, still don't have a level 5, but I think the plan here is to just Digivolve into the Kurisaramon. Probably should have I don't think bringing him out from the breeding area would have been a bad move, especially because I still don't have an ultimate. But I'm just going to Digivolve into the EX1 Kurisarimon and then play another Arata for a 3 cost, starting my turn with a +2 memory the next time around, leaving my opponent with 2, and then he's going to start by hatching his Demimeramon, evolve into the promo Agumon there. That gives +2000 to your Greymons, which is really nice, especially with not only Ancient Greymon, but also the promo Greymon that lets you get security attack +1. So we're going to see Mr. Marcus Damon played for a cost of 4, and then I'm just going to bring out my Kurisarimon, go to 4 memory, and then probably start swinging, because I actually do have the Sumimon underneath that lets you draw a card if you do attack with an unidentified Digimon. But I guess I'm just going to play the Karamon and then Digivolve the Kurisarimon for a cost of 2, leaving my opponent with 1, but he'll go to 3 anyways because of the Marcus there. So leaving my opponent with 3, he's going to start his turn, bring out the Agumon. If we see a Greymon here, that could be pretty impactful, especially because he's got the Marcus, so then he can not only swing for 2 security checks, but then also gain a memory off the Marcus. But instead, we're going to see the promo Agunimon. So are we going to see an Ancient Greymon hit the field? Because this guy lets you, when attacking, Digivolve into Ancient Greymon for a memory cost of 2, ignoring like summoning conditions, basically. And then the Ancient Greymon will get security attack +1 for each Greymon, and we're hybrid underneath his material. So then now we're going to see a 3rd copy of Analog Youth played, reveal the top 3. We see a Greymon, a Bond of Bravery, as well as an Agumon. So Bond of Bravery probably not the best move, especially because there is no tie on the field yet. But one thing I do like about Agubond is that it's a little bit less reliant on like your tie as opposed to Gabumon is on mat. So then we're just going to see the Greymon Digivolved, and then I'm going to start my turn for 1. I think he's doing that just because I don't really have too much removal in this black deck. I basically have to have like Iron Fisted or Ultimate Flare or something, neither of which I have in my hand. So then I'm going to start my turn with +2 memory, of course, hatch my Digiegg, Digivolve into the Karamon there, and then just swing with the Kurisarimon, actually trigger draw 1 from my Digiegg. I'm going to hit security for 5,000 and actually live that one, so that's pretty nice. Agubond does have access to some bigger boss monsters, so you can run over some stuff sometimes, but in this situation, both those dudes are 5,000, unfortunately for him, so most likely I won't be losing that Kurisarimon. But finally drew into the Infamon there, so then we're going to go into Kurisarimon for 2, and then Infamon for 3, passing it over to my opponent. I'm all set up for a Diaboromon plays, and I've got lots of Diaboromons to choose from. I've also got the Armageddonmon in hand. So then we're just going to see my opponent Digivolve the Agumon, attack security with the Greymon, and Greymon has security attack +1, since he does have an Agumon underneath him, and then the Marcus is going to be suspended for the +1 memory there, and then we're going to hit the Kurisarimon on the first check. However, the Meramon does give him +1000 DP, and then we're going to hit into an Ultimate Flare. So I decided, you know what, let's just get rid of the Agunimon. I'm going to Digivolve that and then kill all 3 cost or lower Digimon. So I do not want to see an Ancient Greymon hit the field anytime soon. Now my opponent still does have 4 memory, no red Tamers, no ties, so I'm not afraid of a Bond, nor am I afraid of like an Agunimon finishing me off, so I think I'm in a pretty good position. Then we're just going to see the promo Agunimon played for a copy, played for a cost of 5, 1 copy of that played for 5, and then I'm just going to start my turn again with +2 memory, bring out my Infamon, and now since I've got 3, I could definitely go into the promo Diaboromon there and attempt to OTK him, but I think what I'm going to do here is go into the blocker Diaboromon, the one that gives all my Digimon blocker, just playing it a little bit slow because I don't want to run into a Gaia Force in security, and also I kind of just wanted to show off the new cards. So anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and Digivolve into my Diaboromon for a cost of 3. Now this Diaboromon has 2 really cool effects. Security, you get to just play a Diaboromon token for free, but then also now all my Diaboromons gain blockers, so not only he himself is the blocker, but then I'm going to suspend my Arata and gain 2 new Diaboromon tokens, and now both of them are blockers as well. Not only that, but then I'm going to gain 2 memory off the Kurisarimon, and then draw 4 cards off of both of my Karamon Diaboromon there, okay? So, because they can trigger multiple times or not once per turn. And then, not only that, but then I'm just going to get a bunch of resources to my hand now. So, at this position, when you resolve Caramon like once or twice, you're in a really nice position to be able to win. So I'm just going to attack my opponent's security, or actually I'm going to attack over the Greymon because I don't want him attacking my security the next turn, especially because we got an Agumon coming out of breeding as well. So I'm just going to get rid of that problem right now while I can. But then right now I still don't really have any level 5s in my hand, unfortunately. I could definitely play an Armageddonmon as well. That would maybe prevent... yeah, that wouldn't actually do anything because Armageddonmon only prevents Digivolve effects of level 7, not level 7 effects in general. So it really wouldn't affect any bond plays that my opponent might have. So I'm just going to play the Caramon for a cost of 3 again. My opponent will start his turn with 3 because the Marcus will then reveal top 5. Going to hit a lot of Caramons and then an Armageddonmon, and I'm like, you know what, I don't really need any other rookies, let's just put them all back and grab the Armageddonmon, potentially being able to OTK my opponent the next turn, because I definitely, with 6 Digimon in play and a Rush Digimon in my hand, I do have lethal on board, so my opponent really needs to deal with stuff. However, I've got 2 blockers on the field as well, so any Ancient Greymon play, any Bond play, or Skull Greymon in this scenario will be shut down. So Skull Greymon, you can see there has that effect of security tech +1, but then also at the end of the battle you have to delete it, and on deletion you get to play an Agumon from your hand suspended. So it's actually a really, really cool card. And then not only that, but I'll be able to, my opponent will be able to gain a memory with the Marcus. Going to swing for 2 checks for 8,000, but I'm just going to block it with the Diaboromon, and then at the end of the battle, the Skull Greymon will die and then float into the Agumon. Now, that is a really cool effect, especially because you can trigger on play effects, so if you've got, like, the Tamer searching Agumon, you can just play him off of the Skull Greymon for free and then get that effect to maybe search into a tie. But then we're also going to see all 3 analog use suspended since my opponent's level 5 Digimon was deleted, gaining 3 memory and then hatching a Digi-Egg. Absolutely ridiculous. So then being able to continue his turn with some Agubond combos, but not really sure, again, what he can do at this point in the game because he doesn't have access to his bond right now. Maybe we might see an Ancient Greymon play, but I still do have another blocker, so regardless, I think I'm still in a really good position. So then we're going to see the Agumon Digivolved for 2. When it attacks, you can then Digivolve into an Ancient Greymon for a cost of 2. Now, Ancient Greymon will have security attack +1 and is attacking for 14,000, I believe, with the Demi-Meramon. So checking security, and then if he does die, you get to float into a hybrid. So then I'm just going to block that one for sure. Luckily, he didn't have the piercing from the set 6 Flamemon. So then we're just going to block that, shutting down my opponent's plays. And after that, we're just going to see a Flamemon played for a 3-cost. Flamemon will then reveal the top 3 cards of the deck, add a hybrid or a tamer. Finally see the Tai Kamiya there, so then the Tai is going to go to hand. A little bit too late for my opponent, I think. So then we're just going to see the rest go to the bottom. And then at the end of the turn, the Ancient Greymon is deleted. But then Ancient Greymon has that effect on deletion where you can just play a level 4 or lower hybrid from your hand for absolutely no cost. So then we're just going to see an Agumon plop down onto the field. So now it is my turn. I'm going to start with 5 memory because of my Aratas, of course. Lots of resources in my hands, lots of potential plays I can do. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into the Caramon. Finally drew into an Inframon as well, so you're going to see I'm going to use that to absolutely decimate my opponent, so then I can go into an Inframon on top of the Kurisarimon, which, by the way, now this Inframon has the inherited effect of if you play a Digimon with the same name, it gains Rush for the turn, so then I'm going to be able to go into my Diaboromon for a 2-cost because of the reduced cost due to the effect of Inframon, suspend both of my Aratas, gain 2 Tamers, they both have Rush, and then I'm going to be able to swing my Diaboromon. He has security attack +4, so he checks everything in my opponent's security stack, so then we're just going to go ahead and see, even if I run into a Guy Force, it's really not the biggest deal. I'm also going to just casually draw like 4 cards as well, so we're just going to check every single card in my opponent's security stack, and there's nothing that's going to save him, and then that's going to be game. So that was game 1. Game 2 is actually going to be against 3 Musketeers. I want to show off against, a different meta deck. Still a very prominent deck that has lots of removals. So then I'm just going to go into the Caramon there for a cost of 0, and then play my Arata for 3. Not the best start, but definitely not a terrible start. My opponent playing 3 Musketeers, like I said, he is going to go ahead and flip over that Demi-Meramon Digivolve into the Intmon, and then we see the Deputymon played for a cost of 5. Deputymon then lets you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, adding both a 7-card options as well as a 3 Musketeer Digimon. So we see both the Bellstar and a Nailbone added to hand. A pretty ideal start, already getting the ball rolling with the Bellstar. Now he just needs to fill up his trash with the 7-cost option cards, and it'll be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start my turn. Probably bring out the Caramon just to draw a card, because I do have another Caramon for the following turn. And then this way I'll also be able to get an unidentified Digimon in the trash. So I'm going to go ahead, swing Security, and then draw a card, drew into the Kurisarimon, which is really nice. Then we're going to die to Security. So then the Caramon will go into the trash, setting up the Arata for the following turn. And then I'm just going to play another copy of Arata here. So then, of course, at the start of my turn, I will start with +2 memory already, which is really nice. Also choking my opponent to 1. So we're going to see the Impmon come out of breeding and then swing at Security. Impmon will run into the Kurisarimon. It will die, then triggering the on deletion of Demi-Meramon, where you get to draw 1 and discard 1. So then we're going to see the Nailbone discarded that was added off of the Deputymon. And then his Impmon will go to the trash. And now that I'm keeping, my board pretty much clear, there's not really a reason for him to drop a Bellstar or anything. So we do have at least a couple turns before we start seeing the Musketeer player start just dropping stuff, and maybe drop a Bellstar, Nailbone, some stuff back. Also no promote in trash, so don't have to worry about that. But then we're just going to see a Mat played for 4, and then grabbing back the Gazimon, which honestly doesn't really do too much to my deck at all. Aside from the Kurisarimon, maybe just wanted a level 3 to Digivolve. But regardless, I'm going to start my turn with 5 Digivolve into the Caramon and the Kurisarimon. Also got the Infamon as well, and then now I could definitely Digivolve into one of the Diaboromons. However, I do want to wait until I bring out my level 5, because I want to proc the Aratas to summon tokens. And then also I'll guarantee start with 3 regardless, so I don't have to worry about my opponent choking me or anything. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and pass turn here. So just putting my opponent with 3, and because he's going to start with 3 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So then my opponent is going to hatch the Pagumon there, Digivolve into the Gazimon that we saw added off the mat. And then we could see maybe another Deputymon, maybe a Mechanori or a blocker or something. But again, it potentially makes a lot of the cards in his hands dead, because I'm not really committing anything. So then we're just going to see the Vilemon played for a cost of 5, which is a little bit unfortunate, because I was actually debating and going into the Diaboromon, the promo one, and then just swinging for 4 security checks. But so we're going to bring out the Infamon, going up to 4 memory, and then now Infamon will let me Digivolve any of my Diaboromons for a cost of 2, reducing it by 1 basically, and then I will also be able to summon a couple of tokens. So the plan here is actually I'm going to wait on the blocker Diaboromon, because I do have the Decoy Kurisarimon as well, so I do want those under the same stack. So I'm just going to basically be able to summon 3 tokens, 1 off the Diaboromon effect, and then 2 off my Tamers, and then I'm also going to be able to gain 3,000 DP, and then draw a card if I attack, and then they all have rush as well. So I'm going to go ahead, trigger the Tsumamon to draw a card. My opponent will not block that one, so then we're just going to see a Gavulshorm added to hand, which does not do anything against my deck, because all the tokens are 14 play costs, so that's pretty sick. They are only 3,000 DP, unfortunately, so I'm going to swing with the first one, and that is most likely going to be blocked by the Vilemon. There's not really a reason not to, but luckily it's just a Vile, so it'll only have 1 block as opposed to a Mechanori or something. So yeah, we're going to see the Vilemon block. My token is going to die, and then I'm going to swing with the other 2 tokens. I got them for free anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put the pressure on my opponent, and just like that, he is down to 1 security card. Hits another Gavalt in security, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but even if it was a Trump Sword or anything, it wouldn't have really done anything. So Gavalt, very dead against this deck. which I do actually like because it's a blowout card against a lot of other decks I play. So then finally, I'm probably just going to pass turn by playing the Analog Youth here, allowing me to reveal the top 3 cards of my deck and add any one of those Digimon to my hand. Not sure if I really need any of these per se, but I'm just going to grab the token Diaboromon just to have more tokens, I guess, if I need that. But most likely, my next stack is going to be the blocker Diaboromon, so I don't really even think I'll need it. But if he does delete my Diaboromon, I will be able to gain the memory off the Analog Youth, so that is pretty nice. We're going to see the Deputymon swing over my blocker, which was only 3,000 DP, I believe, whereas Deputymon is 4,000. One cool thing about the EX1 Inframon is that his DP boost is during both players' turns, so that would be really cool to be able to utilize. But regardless, my opponent is going to drop the Bellstar for a cost of 10, add back the Nailbone from hand, probably. I think that's the only one in there. And then we're going to either see a... we're going to see a Happy Bullet Showering, because Happy Bullet Showering Fly Bullet's basically the only card that could out this board. So we're just going to see the Happy Bullet Showering, deleting my Diaboromon, then triggering the Analog Youth to gain a memory and hatch a Digi-Egg. And then I will start my turn with 8 memory. And then going to actually draw a card. Actually, I should start with 10 here, because I think I forgot to trigger the Aratas here. So probably should have started with 10. Yeah, but you're going to see it's not going to matter, but I do apologize for that. So then we're just going to see the Caramon Digivolve, the Kurisaramon played for 4, and then the Inframon most likely Digivolve. Since I do have a lot of memory to work with, I can just straight up go into a Mega right now. So then we're going to see Inframon Digivolve, and then Diaboromon Digivolve for a play cost of 2, but it's not going to really matter because my opponent has Mat. And then now that my Diaboromon is on the field, all of my Digimon with the same name gain blocker, so then these 2 tokens I'm about to summon also gain blocker, as well as Decoy. Okay, so they have Decoy, Black-White, as well as Blocker, so there's not a lot of cards, especially in a Musketeer deck, that can kind of deal with this board. Okay, Gewaltschwimmer doesn't do anything. Happy Bullet Showering, I think, is like the only card that could really... I mean, you'd be able to kill both the tokens, but like you got them for free anyways. Because Trump Sword and Fly Bullet, if you do that to my Diaboromon, I'm just going to Decoy, Protect, and he's going to live, and I'll be able to have him for the following turn. So then my opponent is just going to go ahead and swing with the Bellstarmon. That is going to hit into an Armageddonmon, unfortunately, so Bellstar is going to die to that. And then probably not going to be able to swing with the other 2 Digimon, like Deputy or Gazimon, because I do have the blockers. Deputymon maybe, but he'd risk just like losing it, and then he can evolve into like a Gundramon or a Magna Kid or anything. So Gazimon probably not going to swing. So is there anything he has that could out the blockers here? Yep, so we're going to see the Gundramon Digivolve for 6, since Deputymon does allow you to warp. So then Digimon, this Digimon on Digivolve will let you reveal the top 5 and activate any of those 7-cost option cards. So then we see the Trump Sword, allowing him to play that for free. So Trump Swording my Diaboromon, but then since my other tokens have Decoy, I'm just going to protect my Diaboromon by deleting one of them instead. So then I'm going to go ahead and start my turn. So I'm actually not going to gain the memory. Again, I do apologize, guys, but you'll see it's... I'm going to win regardless. So I'm going to go ahead swing with the Caramon there to trigger the draw 1. Luckily drew into the Armageddonmon. We're going to see the first block by the Vilemon, and now I'm going to swing with the Diaboromon. That is going to hit into security, going to live. And now I basically won the game, because what I can do is just swing with the last Diaboromon. He's going to block, and then I can just drop the Armageddonmon, and since that's rush, I can then go for a game. So guys, that is going to be the video. Again, I do apologize for the little misplays there, but hopefully you still got an idea for how powerful and how kind of crazy this deck is come EX1. So guys, that is going to be the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.